So once again, welcome everyone to Scene Sealers. I'm here with Emily VanCamp. I'm so excited to talk to you about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. Oh,
Hi.
cool. I can feel a little scrolling. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. I do want to remind them too that they should feel free to ask questions because we are going to do a Q&A portion at the end. But I think the first thing I wanted to start with was just going into this. I'm not someone who like gets the screeners. I should probably ask for them. And so I was like waiting in full anticipation of like, when is Emily going to show up? Will she show up? How will she show up? And let me tell you, I mean, Sharon steals the show immediately. Like that is
Oh, well,
the
thank you.
entrance.
I remember reading it and thinking, okay, this is definitely a new Sharon, new version of Sharon than we've seen, that's for sure. Yeah, it was a blast to do, a blast to go back and play her in this totally different light, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. That makes me really happy.
Yeah, it was very exciting. Can you set up though where Sharon Carter is coming into Falcon and Winter Soldier? Last we saw her was really Civil War.
Yeah, the last we saw her was Civil War, and the truth is she's been on the run. And to be honest, for a long time I thought that was the last we saw of Sharon, that maybe they would speak of her. I didn't really anticipate going back, so it was such a wonderful surprise to me when they called and said, you know, we didn't really get to explore the character as much as we wanted to in the films, and we have this great opportunity, and here's what we're thinking. And then it got really juicy.
I think I lost you for a second, but you were saying it got really
Can you hear me
juicy.
now?
Yeah. You mentioned it
Yeah,
got really juicy.
oh, sorry. Yeah, it got really juicy when they wanted to revisit her in this totally different light, and sort of in a way do the character justice, because we hadn't really, like I said, explored very much of her in the films, because there's so many characters, so many people to service, and that makes total sense. But it was just an exciting thought for me. And then when I started to read the scripts, I thought, okay, this is a very different version of Sharon. And yeah, like I said, she's been on the run, and you know, we get a sense that she's had to do some things that maybe she hasn't wanted to do to sort of survive in this new world. And she's a little edgier, a little cynical. There's a chip on her shoulder that we have not seen. You know, she was sort of all about the stars and stripes before, and very loyal to Cap as we knew him. And suddenly there's this totally different woman in front of us, and it was very cool for me to explore Sharon independent of, you know, the Chris Evans version of Captain America.
Yeah, I love that the show especially has the room to like pick up on those threads, because even within the film, it's like not only is Cap gone, but there's like 5 years have gone by, and so like we really didn't. We're meeting a whole new Sharon, and there's so much to build off on.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything,
Yeah.
and those were my questions when I was talking to everybody, when they were just sort of coming up with all of the ideas for Falcon Winter Soldier. And yeah, the possibilities were endless, and that's what makes it so fun. And I think that's what makes this new streaming platform so fun. You get to live with these characters that you only see glimpses of in the films for much more time. And I think it just, this new platform lends itself well for the storytelling, and to really dig a little bit deeper into these characters that we love and didn't get to see maybe as much of. Even, you know,
Yeah.
Sam, you know, we love them in the films, but that dynamic was never explored as well as we can explore it here. And it's such a fun one to watch. So, I mean, I think it's great.
Yeah. Speaking of Sam and Bucky, of course, Steve Rogers was the glue that kept them together. But how would you describe their dynamic now without Steve? Can Sharon still trust them, and vice versa?
I don't think Sharon is trusting many people at this point. I think Sharon is solely trusting herself at this time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily bring Sharon into that equation, but I think what's fun about those two and their dynamic is, you know, that's sort of that is sort of the glue that keeps them together, and watching them grow and evolve independent of Steve, I think is just very interesting. And I think they both do such an amazing job at sort of bringing, you know, that version of their characters to life, and really digging a little bit deeper into their turmoil, their struggles, and what this all means for them as well.
Yeah. Oh my God, that brings up such a good point, because like in watching it, of course, we're feeling like, oh, okay, we're going from Endgame to the show now. And so we get to sort of like see that quick continuation. But with Sharon, it's both within the universe and outside the universe. It's been 5 years, so like some stuff's gone down. Like she just does not have that same mindset she had with Bucky and Sam at the end of Civil War.
No, like I said, she's not very trusting. She's resentful and angry on many levels, you know. There were probably opportunities for her to be pardoned, and it never happened. And, you know, that seems to be her main goal and mission.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of her ticket. So does she really want to be hanging with these guys? Not particularly, but is it beneficial to her in a sense? Yeah, you know, she wants her life back in whatever way that can be. So, so yeah, a lot's gone down for Sharon.
Nice. But for Emily, how has it been getting to play around a little more with Anthony and Sebastian?
Always the best. I mean, you know, after, I mean, almost 10 years. I think it was 7 years ago that The Winter Soldier premiered, which is mind-boggling to me. But you know, I've known these guys for a while, and it's always nice to just go. I mean, they're such a blast to work with, and you know, it was very cool to get to see them shine in this new light. And like I said, I think everyone, Wyatt Russell I mean, everyone on the show did such a great job. It was very cool to be a part of it, and just, yeah, to watch everyone shine and in a, you know, longer version, you know, than we're seeing in the movies.
Yeah. Was it a nice bond too, being among the first of this new era of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
It was very cool. I mean, I think we all kind of wondered what's it going to be like, you know. We were used to doing the films, and, you know, there's a certain expectation for those films, and I think everyone was hoping that, you know, the quality wouldn't be compromised and it would still look as good and epic and cool as the films. And I really do think that they accomplished that. I mean, I remember sitting and watching it for the first time as a viewer and thinking, okay, they really figured out the right way to do this, because it feels like a 6-hour movie. And I think that is just, it's a testament to Marvel and what they do. And it shows and proves that this new platform works as well. So it's kind of cool that they have the films and now they have this new platform, and yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Speaking to how like they really kept that same energy for like the TV show, what was it like prepping for and filming the action scenes that you got to do?
It was, well, I was shooting The Resident at the same time. So,
Oh, wow.
and they had told me, they sort of prepped me while they were writing the scripts, and mentioned, you're going to have to do some fight training. There's, you know, a lot more of that in this, and we're not exactly sure what it is yet, but just be prepared. So I knew that it was going to be a very challenging year doing both projects at once, plus, you know, all of the fight training in addition to that. And it was really fun to just explore what her fight style is, because we're used to seeing her as this, you know, technically trained agent, and suddenly she's, you know, fighting off these goons, and you know, it's more like a street fight. So it was kind of fun with the amazing stunt team. I mean, they are just so incredible, and Marvel really equips you with all the tools that you need to be able to do this kind of stuff. But you know, figuring out her fight style and what, you know, this kind of new Sharon looks like when she's, you know, out there fighting. And I don't really have, you know, superpowers to I wouldn't say hide behind, but to use as a tool. And so it was very hands-on, you know, street fighting
Yeah.
style. and,
Yeah.
and so there were many bruises, many cut up hands, you know, trying to figure it all out. But I loved it, and I love doing all that stuff. And you know, it was cool to get to explore that side of Sharon as well, which we hadn't seen as much of in the films either. So it's just, you know, all around a really fun, challenging, but very
Mm.
fun.
Yeah. It's so boss to be the person without powers that's like, I'm okay being the lookout. And by the way, I don't really need weapons. There are just some pipes falling off the storage units that I can pick up and we can go.
That was ever evolving too, because at first it was guns, and then they thought, well, we don't really want to, you know, none of us really want to promote guns if we don't have to, and there are enough guns already. So, you know, then it became, you know, we just went from like, you know, top weapon, and then just sort of dwindled down to, well, if she found a pipe on the ground, she could just use that. Okay, well, that makes sense. She's not going there anticipating necessarily that there's going to be this big, you know, epic battle. But, you know, sure enough, she has to kind of like fend for herself and find whatever she can. And I think it made it kind of fun and interesting. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I think too, one thing I loved is that I just subscribed to Marvel Unlimited, and like right after the episode, they already had like a reading list for Sharon. Do you read any of the comic books for research, or even just like for fun to see how things are going with her?
I definitely have. You know, they kind of give us these stacks of all the different comic, you know, when I joined the films initially years ago. And I remember going through them at length and kind of realized, okay, well, the MCU is different. You know, they sort of take what they want, and then as the actor, you take what you want from, you pull what you want from the characters, because there's just so many different versions of the character and
Right.
ages, relationships, and you know, so it's, you know, yeah, you kind of like, you see what's going on, but it doesn't really mean as much in terms, you know, they're very different worlds, I would say.
Yeah. Another thing too, of course, that we've saw with the films, and we definitely see with the TV shows, is fan theories. Do you tend to keep up with that? I know this episode, partially taking place in Madripoor, has like people freaking out at the possibilities it kind of opens up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't probably read as much as I should, or know as much as I should, to be honest. But, and that's maybe a good thing for when I do these
Yeah.
reviews, because I can't really divulge too much information. I've heard some of the theories. I think they're great. I love how invested all of the fans are, and you know, we'll see. I mean, I can't really say anything. That's this challenge is, you know, I'm a sharer, so I want to share everything I know, but I cannot.
Like, no, you're on the right track, but that's like not quite what we're thinking. Though, did you catch WandaVision?
I did. I loved it.
Okay. I was going to ask, were you that way with WandaVision? Because that's another one where people every week were like, I think I know in my head like how this is going to go down, but you know, it might be something different.
Because I'm not as familiar with the comic books, and you know, I wouldn't say I was ever like a diehard comic book fan. I was just really along for the ride, and I caught up a little bit later, and just a few weeks ago finally binged the whole thing. And
Yeah.
I was just, for me, I thought the whole journey was so well done and so well played, you know, just with everybody, all, you know, everyone involved did a tremendous job with that show. But I wouldn't say I was trying to, you know, come up with theories, and you know, I was just along for the ride and loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the great thing too about the Marvel TV shows is that it still has like that puzzle box type thing that people like in TV, where it's like there's mysteries and Easter eggs and stuff there, and it all tracks back. I think even someone had like screenshot a part of the episode in the background, and like one of the photos they used, because it was like some kind of control room, had like a screenshot of Steve in like the first movie. And so they were like, oh wow, like you can see the continuity in there.
I mean, yeah, I think down to every tiny little image, you know, there's thought behind it. I wouldn't pick it up because, you know, like I said, I was just kind of along for the ride, but I commend everyone who is, you know, like on top of it like that, and who understand the whole universe, because it's a massive one. There is so much fun, and the way that the MCU kind of you know, weaves them all together. It's a lot to keep up with. So,
Yeah. Can you give a 1 or 2 word tease about what's next for Sharon?
oh, probably not.
I mean,
I,
that's 2 words.
I'll probably get in trouble for, but I think that you know, just keep watching. You know, I think the episodes just keep getting better and better, and the more they delve into the, you know, each and every character and their specific perspectives, it just gets better and better, and yeah, I'm just really excited for people to see it.
Yeah. I think the general 2 words right now are power broker.
Right.
Um, yeah. But we are going to get to, oh, what were you going to say?
Broker. But that's of course me.
Exactly. Um, we are about to get into Q&As. I did have one more question because I feel like we have fans coming in from all around, all different TV audiences, because
Okay.
even though we focus on Falcon and Winter Soldier, if anyone has seen like the TV shows you've done, there's something for everyone. Are you able to anticipate what show like people will recognize you from, like when they see you?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, no, I don't think so. I would say definitely in the comic book world, um, uh, it's very specific, you know, and very opinionated as well,
Yeah.
which is great, you know. Like I was saying before, you know, everyone knows way more than me, so often people will come up with theories or ideas or thoughts that I don't even understand. So the giveaway that they're, you know, comic book fans. But other than that, no, you know, and everyone's always so lovely and sweet. I'm very, very lucky to have, you know, just nice people come up and say hi.
From all walks of life. Yeah. All
That
right.
isn't starting, so it's hard to know.
All right, let's see some audience questions. And guys, if you comment a question that everyone thinks is dope, can you please just like comment it again and again so I can see it? But I'm doing the Q&A thing right now.
Lots
Let's
of
see, and I cannot
Bill.
see a single one of these. Oh wait, can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna look wild, like leaning in here. Why are these so hard to see? You know what,
I
guys?
think so.
Let's do questions in the comments because for some reason my phone is not letting me read these questions. It's just white bars. All right, let's see. So VanCamp, there's a dot, but of course VanCamp asks, "What's your favorite thing about the Sam, Bucky, and Sharon dynamic?"
Favorite thing about um, I mean, I just think she's generally kind of annoyed with him. And you get the sense of that right off the bat, that this is a bit of a, like I was saying before, a bit of a pain for her, but also, um, you know, kind of her ticket. So she sort of goes with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, she's just generally kind of like, really, is this happening? And I think that lends itself well to the
Yeah,
dynamic. I mean, you get a glimpse of that too in Civil War, I think. So.
definitely. I kind of love this question. It's from Dara Loves Marvel. What did Sharon think about Steve going back in time for Peggy?
That's a really interesting question, and one that we never really touch on in the show, and we never really touched on when we were, you know, coming back to Sharon and redeveloping who she is. So I guess that's up for interpretation. It wasn't wasn't one of the
Yeah.
things we prioritize, and I think that she's got bigger fish to fry at this point.
Yeah. I feel like it certainly makes things less weird, sort of this when there's separation between Peggy and Sharon.
Change, you know, feeling about that kiss initially and what that represented. And so I think, like I said, it's kind of nice to see her independent of all of that, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one because we didn't mention him. Eliza Eulalia, I want to say. Asks, how was working with Daniel Bruhl? Of course,
I
Sharon's email.
Yes. You know, I I just adore him. I think he's amazing as the character, and had spent a little bit of time with him, you know, just when we were doing all that press stuff for Civil War. But to see him again and actually get to do a little bit of work with him, I just think he's a fabulous actor and a great human being. And yeah, lovely time.
That's awesome. I mean, great to hear, even though he plays like a villain.
Yeah.
um,
No, he's a lot of fun. Just,
yeah.
yeah.
So Jolanda de la Valle, I want to say, asks, "What's your favorite memory of Revenge?"
Favorite memory of Revenge?
Yeah.
Oh, so many. I mean, I met my husband on this, so that's a. If I don't say that, then I'm.
The big highlight, yeah.
Yeah. No, I just so many. We just recently did a little mini reunion, and it was just a blast to see those guys. I'm still very close with most of that whole cast, so it would be hard to pick one memory.
Yeah. um, and then Stephanie Jades asks, how was it developing Sharon's wardrobe this season? Love, I believe she has a leather jacket this time around.
Yes. I mean, I leave that to the professionals. Wardrobe, I mean, and our costume designer is amazing. And I just loved, I mean, and immediately when I saw that jacket, I thought, okay, we're all on the same page. And, you know, it was fun to kind of figure out what, I mean, again, like we're going from that kind of agent look to this rogue kind of street badass, I guess. And so you're kind of like an art dealer, but, you know, illegal. The whole thing is very lawless, and
Yeah.
and it made sense that, you know, she was in that type of wardrobe, and I thought they did a great job with it. So I don't usually mess with that kind of stuff. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, she's Hightown, but she's still in Madripoor.
Exactly. You know, it's Madripoor, and so, you know, and she can clearly kick it in, you know, all parts of Madripoor. So, you know.
Yeah. And then, okay, Katie M _25 said, you said that you binge watched the movies, and I was wondering which one you enjoyed the most. Oh, and I think another one with this is Valcar XL asks, if you could play another Marvel character, who would it be? So, favorite MCU movie, and are there any characters that you were like, oh, that'd also be dope?
I mean, that's a tough one. I feel like I have to see these people, so I don't want to piss anyone off. But what I meant when I binged was that I had binged WandaVision recently.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And so that I thought that was just epic to binge. I thought it was amazing. In terms of the films, I mean, they're also great for different reasons, so it'd be hard to pick. And then what was the other question? Oh, like, who would I want to play? Oh, that's hard too.
I think it could be outside of the MCU too, because Marvel itself has like such a huge cast of characters that still haven't popped up yet.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'd have to get back to you on that one. That's a pretty loaded question. I find, you know, these questions so loaded, I take them so seriously. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But if I say the wrong thing and I think about it later and, you know, think of something else. But I think right now it's pretty cool to be playing Sharon.
Yeah. Speaking of Sharon, will we see the white suit? She has an iconic white suit.
That is a question for the powers that be. That I can't tell you. I mean, we obviously, you know, she's not in the white suit in Madripoor. So.
Yeah.
So maybe down the line, I don't know.
But would you be into it? You're like, oh, like this would be fun to.
Oh, for sure. I think,
yeah.
You know, people were hoping for that even in the movies, but we never got there. So who knows?
I like this idea. I might tweak it a little. So Ava X Falcon asks, do you think fans will finally start appreciating Sharon like they should? You've mentioned before that there was already some controversy with her relationship with Captain America. Having come back, like just off the basis of this one episode, have you already seen a change in people's reaction to Sharon?
I think so. I think, yeah, I think it's cool to just see her independent of all of that, and just to, to have her back in her own, it's, yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, I don't
Mhm.
read too much, but the reaction that I've been getting is that people are glad to see her, and just glad to see, her holding her own, and getting a, different version of Sharon than we've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah. And I like this one too. This is Emily Moore XOX. Are there any similarities between Amanda Clarke, Emily Thorne, and Sharon?
Probably now more than ever. Got this like chip on her shoulder. I think they're probably more similar than when Sharon was a little bit more of like a wide-eyed agent, but still very different characters.
Yeah.
A little nuts, but
Yeah. And then I like this, of course. We're almost out of time, but I do want to get a resident question in. What do you like the most about the resident, the characters, the actors? Tell us something fun that happened on set.
oh, I mean, I have fun with those guys every day. Such an amazing cast. I love them all. So again, I'm so bad at this. To pick one moment would be, I mean, Bruce is very funny. I would say Bruce is probably the funniest of everybody in terms of on-set giggles. He can do every accent known to man, and I love when he busts that out, which is fairly regularly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a great casting crew. I love going to work with them every day.
Yeah. And then, of course, I think someone else had another one, but I think this is a good way of putting it. Uh, for Revenge, would you want to see a reboot, sequel, prequel?
Oh,
Like,
that's a
if you were to revisit it, how would you want to see it revisited?
there have been lots of discussions about all of those things, and like, could they reboot it, and which way would they do that? And I'm supportive of all of it. I think Emily had, or Amanda, I should say, had a great ending.
Hmm.
And so I don't know. I don't see it necessarily being rebooted with Amanda, Emily, but it's such a great concept, and people really liked it. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know what the plan is with that.
Yeah. We're about to wrap. I think one fun question to end on would just sadly Sharon missed out on that like female team up at the end of Avengers Endgame. So I want to know what do you think her pose would be? Like how do you see Sharon in that
I don't know.
setup?
That's a good question. Um, no idea. I have not thought about this one, but now I'll probably be thinking about it all night. No, I'm kidding.
She's just in the background, like maybe right behind. I think what's Gwyneth's role, Rescue, is the name of like Pepper Potts' suit or something like that. But just a
Oh,
little like fighting
yeah.
stance or something like that.
Probably a little bit, yeah, something tough.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a
Sharon
lot of debris in that scene, so she probably like picked up a rock or something. She's ready to
found
go.
something to use as a weapon of
Yeah,
sorts.
exactly. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. This has been such a pleasure.
This has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And once again, this was Scene Sealers. I think we'll be back in 2 weeks or next Monday. I don't know, but follow Entertainment Weekly for more. And of course, see more of Emily on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which premieres new episodes on Friday.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, see ya.